Tu vois une notif comme quoi c'est... Ouais, ok, je le vois aussi. Ok, très bien.
Ok.
Vous pouvez remettre vos coordonnées à l'écran, là, qu'on puisse les noter aussi, s'il vous plaît?
Tu peux le faire, du coup, Dorian, ouais. Ouais, du coup, à l'issue de la session, bah, n'hésitez pas à me contacter en direct, il n'y a pas de souci, quoi. Et donc sur l'accélérateur, nous on travaille ces boîtes-là, bah, du coup on les montre évidemment en premier aux membres de l'association, mais vu que c'est pas la finalité, on travaille avec tout un tas de groupes qui ne sont pas membres, comme je sais pas, Vinci, JC Deco ou d'autres, quoi.
Alors, est-ce que vous voyez bien ma présentation là?
Moi je le vois, ouais.
Parfait.
Oui, merci.
Donc nous, avec Dorian, on veillera aussi à la bonne gestion du temps et on prendra des notes des questions que vous poserez. Et ensuite, lorsqu'on vous fournira le lien pour la vidéo, on vous donnera un compte rendu également des questions qui ont été posées et de comment ça s'est passé.
Juste peut-être une question complémentaire là, pour avoir une idée de la taille de votre institut. Vous avez un budget annuel de quel montant à peu près?
Alors l'année dernière, on avait récupéré 72 millions d'euros de la Commission européenne. Cette année, ça a baissé drastiquement. On a atteint une espèce de pic il y a 2 ans. C'est en train de baisser maintenant pas mal. Je crois que cette année, en fait, ça a été... il y a eu un petit délai parce que nous, on hérite des fonds qui s'appelaient Horizon 2020 l'année dernière et qui s'appellent Horizon Europe cette année. Et parce que ça change de nom, les règles changent. Et donc, du coup, tout ça a été... il y a une espèce de délai qui s'est rajouté. Mais je pense qu'on s'oriente vers 35 ou 40 millions d'euros. Donc, j'ai pas toutes les masses en tête, mais je pense qu'on doit déverser genre 15 millions d'euros sur l'éducation, une dizaine de millions d'euros sur l'appel à projet, et il doit rester 4-5 millions d'euros pour payer les salaires de ceux qui travaillent dans l'accélérateur en fait, et les bureaux. Et ouais, je l'ai pas dit, mais effectivement, les membres, bah, c'est une assoce et ils versent un fee. Donc, les plus petites boîtes doivent payer, je crois que c'est aux alentours de 5 000 euros l'année. Et les plus grosses boîtes, je crois que c'est 25 000 euros, mais je peux me tromper, quoi. Mais c'est dans ces eaux-là, quoi, c'est cet ordre de grandeur.
Bonjour Julia.
Bonjour.
Hi Julia.
Hi.
Okay, so you're the first one to start. So you can speak English, it's not a problem, but you have to know that the audience is mainly French. So you have a 30 minutes slot. The idea is that you speak maybe just 25 minutes, and then we can have some kind of Q&A session. Do you have a presentation that you want to display?
Yes. Okay.
Then you can go ahead.
Okay.
But just for you,
hello everybody.
The session is recorded.
Good.
If it's fine for you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
It's
so
fine.
thank you for the invitation. Today I'm here with my colleague Luis Rodriguez, who is joining me as he's running the international sales while I am doing the business development in the company, and we will present together. So Luis, you want me to share the slides?
Yeah, please, if you have control of it. Good morning, everybody. I missed English at the beginning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, do you see the presentation?
Yes, we do.
Not yet. There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. So I will start presenting myself briefly. I'm running international sales for MIPU. And as you see in the title, we are experts in applied artificial intelligence in factories, cities, industry. And the slides will explain you how we do this. Quick words about MIPU, we are based in Italy. We have several offices in Italy. And as you see in our mission statement, we focus in bringing information from the assets, from different assets to our system to check how the system is performing in order to help cutting costs and boost performance. Yeah, this is what is our mission statement, and we think we do it quite well. Can you please jump to the next one? One of our key topics that I really like to share is that we have more than 200 references. As you saw in the in the previous slide, we are active really since 2006. We founded the company in 2012, but previously active in predictive maintenance activities in industry, and this has brought us to have a huge level of expertise in several industries, and I'm pretty sure one of those will resonate you. At the end, we will comment some specific use case more in detail. It's quite important to highlight exactly what we offer. We are a software company. Our aim is to develop very well our software application called Rebecca, that you will see in the next slide how it looks. But it's not to forget that we have also the IoT layer cover with a solution called Davide that you see there. I will not go into details there, but it's a mixture of sensoric and gateway, which is quite flexible and adaptive. And also very important to stress that we have a huge knowledge base that we have been building up through all these years and all these references that you have seen before. We have a huge pool of industrial engineers and data scientists, which I think make the right combination for predictive maintenance activities. Can you go to the next one, please? Thank you. So this is the platform I was mentioning before, which is our core stuff. Starting from the below Internet of Things layer, important to say that all the modularity you see here, it's real. So if, for instance, Internet of Things, you have already a layer of Internet of Things, which is quite common currently, we don't have any issue. We can easily integrate with it in traditional REST API, whatever protocols you have. We have an artificial intelligence that it's fed by the data coming up from the Internet of Things layer or whatever other Internet of Things layer or SCADA or PLC or whatsoever. And on top, we have, let's say, the verticals of specialization. We have a very well developed asset management tool that goes through workflow or repairs, or orders, full control of the management cycles of all the assets of the company, which is quite good. It's normally, by the way we start with our customers, and then they finally go to other layers. Energy management covering ISO 50001, you can control different efficiency project by yourself and see if you're really reaching your goals by gathering energy information, again, from the data you are extracting from the sets. And then the operations and verticals, which is a layer is more with reliability of the operations, control, and other verticals that we are implementing. On top of that, and also last but not least, is data experience layer, which is a very flexible GUI that we normally adapt to our users. Of course, you can have different flavors of users. People more focus on the business, people more focus on the maintenance activities, on the operations, and depending on those, we can adapt dashboards, particularly based on the data we are gathering to the specific view. I don't know if there was thought to have a question and answers at the end. I think you said that, but if you want to interrupt me, I'm more than happy with that. Yeah. Key differentiators. I mean, looking at all what I was saying until now, we have a very comprehensive approach. What I said before, not only that the software application is quite modular and we can implement, maybe start by asset management, integrating with your SCADAs and provide you the full asset management control, or integrate IoT and apply artificial intelligence to whatever prediction in your assets. So this is quite flexible. And this is something we can cover, including from IoT and also the expertise of our technical guys that you see in the middle. I mean, our domain knowledge is sometimes let me say, so good that we are proud to say that around 10 and 15% of our revenue stream is training that we do regularly, and it's quite an important part of our relationship with our customers. And also important to say that, I mean, we like to say that we democratize artificial intelligence. And why we say this? Because we have engineered a platform that helps any business user, I mean, not artificial intelligence expert, no IT guy. So any business user, any technician, maintenance technician or maintenance engineer to work his models alone and gather data he needs and prepare his models alone, which is a huge advantage in our opinion to involve the people that finally will use the predictions or the data that the platform provides. Yeah. And then I leave the floor to Julia to present some use cases that are really a very basic sample of the 200 references you have seen before, and hopefully they are the adequate ones. Maybe time to any question here right now about the general introduction? Not really. Okay, good. Let's go to the use cases.
Yes, so thank you, Luis. I will explain you a little bit about our main case studies focusing on predictive maintenance and asset management. This one was about a project we have developed with Edison, which is the Italian branch of EDF, Énergie de France. And we can say that we can mention the customer name because we actually have explained and exposed this case study in a publication with Harvard Business Review here in Italy that dedicated one issue to our stories of predictive factory. And we were very happy about it. So what we have done with Edison, they wanted a software system to control the performances of their most important and crucial assets in their main thermal power plant in Italy. So what we did with them was to work together with their technicians in order to, as a first step, understand the most relevant parameters to use in order to create artificial intelligence models able to represent the behavior of their assets like gas turbines, steam generators, and so on, and to detect anomalies in their behavior. So we created the models, which now can be used by the technicians on site. They can be not only used and edited, but also monitored during their life cycle. So if they see that a model is not representing the system anymore, they can retrain it with new data. They can edit it quite easily, as our platform provides the possibility to create artificial intelligence models without coding. So now what they have is an optimized data experience, we say. When they open the platform, they can have the map of their thermal power plant, and they can have the overview, some dashboards that provide the overview of the most relevant metrics about the plant performances. Then they can click on a portion of their plant and select the assets which are located there. And once they select an asset, they open the asset sheet. Like here in the example, in the screenshot, you see the sheet of a turbine, gas turbine. And when they open it, they can see the models. They can see the most important KPIs and parameters they wanted to monitor. And on the left, they will also have a list of anomalies intercepted by the models, listed. Also considering the urgency to intervene, and so how severe the anomalies are. Now we are also integrating the asset management platform, as we also provide some modules to digitize all the maintenance operations and activities. So very soon they will have the possibility to not only have the overview of the anomalies in the assets, but also they will have the opportunity to have automatic tickets generation. So the anomalies detected will generate automatic tickets that they will generate work orders in their maintenance management platform. So for sure now they have a quite easy to use and optimized system to identify anomalies and inefficiencies. And according to their last study, they had cut more than half the time dedicated to asset monitoring and to condition monitoring in their plant. So now we are also scaling the project. We started with 1 thermal power plant. Now we are operating also on the other 5 they have in the country. The second use case is a project we have developed with the Italian Railway Infrastructure Manager. They wanted a system to optimize their asset management activities and also
Sorry to interrupt. Everybody sees the next slide, or are you still in the use case thermal power plant? No, it's just
the railway slide.
Yeah, no, it is.
Okay. So with this, what they wanted to do was to really optimize and cut the time dedicated to asset management and also introduce predictive maintenance. So we started from a data acquisition system that they were having. So what they have is a train that goes through the tracks in the Italian country. And this train has a 360-degree camera on it. And the camera acquires images of the tracks and everything that surrounds the tracks. So also the benches and also some environment items like trees, bushes, and so on. So we provided them with the possibility to process those images with an artificial intelligence algorithm that now gives them the possibility to categorize automatically the assets they are photographing so that they can perform their maintenance activities more easily. So they were doing already data acquisition, image analysis, and categorizing the assets, but they were doing it manually with people really looking at the images and categorizing images. So now they have an algorithm that does that. So not only, of course, it cuts really the time dedicated to this activity, but it is also more precise than the people who are doing that. More precise than operators. It is outperforming humans, we say. Plus, analyzing the images, now they are able to identify some situations that can cause problems in the future and do predictive maintenance. So for instance, if the algorithm sees that there is a tree that is growing and will likely obstruct the way, then it signals it. This predictive maintenance system is empowered by also an IoT structure. So they have some sensors in the tracks, and the software now is acquiring data also from that and processing them and matching them with the machine vision part in order to really have a precise predictive maintenance environment. So here what I want to highlight is the possibility of the platform to acquire data from different sources, acquire data from different methods, and also the plus, it's the data experience. So now the software can be really used not by data scientists and the IT department, but really from the people who need to monitor the tracks and operate security measures on the tracks. So it really makes their job easy. Another one is about a company doing steel. So in the steel industry, they wanted to do condition monitoring on their melting furnace. They were struggling doing that, and they wanted to implement a data-driven approach, so a data-driven predictive maintenance system to analyze the status of their melting furnace. But for them was quite struggling, so they asked us to really understand how to monitor the behavior of their furnaces in the plant. So here what we did was an assessment of the kind of data they were acquiring, the data that could be acquired related to the asset. And we did some studies to understand which kind of parameters make sense to include in the model in order to really represent the behavior of the furnace. So having the first results, we could implement the models with the platform, and now they have a system that really allows them to monitor the behavior of the furnace, to spot anomalies automatically. And so they have a data-driven predictive maintenance system. It is quite precise, but we also suggested which kind of data now they would need to acquire with which kind of sensors in order to really boost the analysis and really have a precise predictive maintenance system. Last one, it is a project, it's ongoing and very interesting. It's a project we are doing with a hydropower plant, with a company producing and distributing energy from hydropower plants in northern Italy. We have developed a system to forecast flood waves. So not strictly predictive maintenance, but still just to give you the idea of the possibilities that the platform gives. Here, they wanted a system to forecast flood waves based on weather conditions in order to optimize their bulkheads operations, so the operations of the basins, let's say, in order to always ensure safety and also be prepared in advance. So with the platform now, we have the possibility to have 3 scenarios of water flows. So severe conditions, normal conditions, no problem conditions. The analysis is based on weather forecast data which are acquired by the public institutions. And now with the algorithms, they can have this prediction. And now the ongoing project for them is to connect the system with their system which is digitizing the bulkhead operations in order to have everything connected and really smart. So this was the last one. The case studies here show the possibilities of the platform, how the platform can be connected to different data sources, but also to other systems, because it is a modular platform, very easy to integrate, and also the fact that really is thought for the technicians on site. So it really bridges the gap between the technicians and the IT department and data scientist team. So it really bridges this gap and provides a comprehensive solution for the optimization of these activities in plants and buildings as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Giulia. So we have 7 minutes left. So if some of you in the audience have any question to ask to Giulia, just feel free.
Yeah, Marc Bremont speaking from Vallourec. I have a question regarding the type of assets you are handling with your platform. Is it a combination of single assets, which might be complex and big, like the big gas turbine that you mentioned for the power plant? But do you work also with, I would say, highly complex and lines that are with the different modules that are interacting one with the other, and where, for example, a degradation in the first machine could have consequences on the third one, or the degradation of the first machine could be only measured by something that you see in further downstream in the process. So do you have examples of, I would say, complex lines? Yeah. A good example would be a hot rolling mill, for example, for flat steel, or a flat glass operation line, or things like that, where you have different components that are highly linked one with the other.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these are very interesting questions. Thank you for it, Mark. I mean, we're working with just to give you a reference, but I think it's valid, with a chemical industry that they have a production line where they mix different ingredients. It goes through 60 different phases, and the goal that we are facing with them is to try to anticipate if the resulting good will be wrong or has lower quality than they want, they can stop the process up front. Yeah. So basically, it's what you say. So if there is any relationship of any degradation at the beginning or any of the phases that will result in bad quality or an impact in one of the latter phases. At the end of the day, trying to answer your question, Mark, is how you model your assets. Of course, any model or any asset can be modeled depending on the data you gather. And depending on the data you can gather, yeah, because depending on what you are censoring or the kind of information your PLCs, SCADAs, or CNCs are bringing in, yeah. And the beauty of artificial intelligence, in my opinion, is exactly to explore this kind of relationship that maybe for you or the traditional technician is quite hidden, but analyzing the data and correlating information from maybe step number 1 or number 2 with step number 32, you see there is a link. Yeah. So the answer is yes. Depends a lot on the data you have, you are able to extract, and if there are enough representative. And this is very important because you might have some information, but you might miss something that is relevant. For instance, the typical driver, its temperature that normally is not considered in the starting evaluations. Yeah, makes sense what I'm saying, Mark? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Because I understand that handling of a single, even if it's complex, a single machine might be a little bit different than dealing with a complex system, I would say.
Sorry. Just an additional question on Frédéric Bondelet speaking. Additional question on nearly the same topic. If you have several steps, so several machines, will your system be able to advise that you should change such or such parameter to either correct if it's on a later step, or you say that you are able to stop production at some stage because you see that it will go
yeah, exactly.
bad. But now the question would be, you know that if you change this other parameter, then you can catch up and correct the issue. Would your system be able to predict and to propose new tunings to correct the issue that you plan, you foresee?
I mean, this is also a very interesting question. I mean, our experience tells us that you should not allow artificial intelligence to do things automatically yet, which means that
propose the operator, maybe.
Sorry?
Just to propose to the operator, not
exactly. So yeah, I mean, this, of course, maybe in a couple of years or decades or centuries, this will be automatic. But currently, is definitely the right thing to do is to propose. Look, these are some anomalies. So these anomalies are really the ones that we see by our analysis that are impacting in the latter phases of degradation. And I mean, basically, depending on the kind of expertise of the people we involve. But as I said, we have industrial engineers that can understand deeply what is going on, and they might recommend deeper things. But if I keep my vision at the level of the data scientists, what the data scientists do is detect anomalies on the data and correlations and see that this parameter is linked to this one in this latter phase. And then the interpretation of the industrial engineer, definitely with the customer, is, okay, looks like this is what is happening. I remember one case that was some degradation in the oil, so this is something you need to make sure to a certain extent your expertise in what you are quite good at, plus the extra information the artificial intelligence is bringing to you. Make sense?
Yes, thanks.
Thank you to you, Frederick. Julia, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just about the previous question about complex systems and how assets influence each other. I mean, the software does that as long as the first assets have really an influence in the behavior of the other assets which are linked. And this is actually the actual functioning of the models of condition monitoring based on AI. We model all the relevant parameters that influence the behavior of the asset. So if the behavior of other assets upstream have an influence on the functioning, for sure they are in the model. So yeah, the answer is yes, also for this kind of reason, because we model everything that has an impact and everything that is relevant for the purpose.
Hello, Arthur from Gérard Perrier. Thanks for the presentation. If I understand correctly, Rebecca is a generic platform, and I am curious, each time you have a new use case, how many time it takes to deploy, and do you have a specific development, or everything is already in Rebecca?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good question. I mean, we have not not spend too much time in our methodology, but we have a very clear and concrete methodology that covers many things. I mean, I would even tell you that it covers governance and change management, because maybe you have seen it in your industry also, but bringing artificial intelligence has a lot of friends, but also a lot of enemies. Yeah. So the software is, yes, off the shelf. It, of course, has continuous further developments, and I don't know exactly in what version we are already, 9.1 or something like this, and with continuous developing. The modality you have seen is the one that is available, and normally we start any project, as I said before, doing a feasibility study, which means we need to make sure that the existing data can be enough representative to reach the expectations of the customer. And I think for me this is the key moment of truth, because you cannot start expecting too many things if the data existing will not bring you there. Yeah. So answering your question in another way, yes, the software solution is there. Adaptations are basically in integrating southbound to the sensors, whatever kind they are, existing or not, and northbound to the business processes that you want to gear based on the data we bring up. Yeah, and the rest needs to be customized to your specific need. I mean, your model is your specific model for your specific asset. And by the way, the IPR of this modeling will be yours, and you can even extract it from the tool in Python code and keep it running or keep it there for you, because it's your IPR. Makes sense, Arthur, my answer? Sorry, I diverted it a little bit, but I hope I managed to answer your question. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Just could you give us an idea of how many times the use case you have present can take?
And it will be, sorry to interrupt you a little bit, it will be the last question, because we have to move on to the other scale. Please go ahead, Julia.
Sure. So we first do a short assessment, usually is 1 week, to understand the data which are there, how the process is structured. Then we need data about the process to feed the models. Data must be about at least 1 year of data. And to develop the models, we take some weeks, which depend on how complex is the project. But yeah, let's say it's a matter of weeks to develop the models.
Arthur, the model, the training of the model depends a lot on the stationality. If the data, I mean, the stationality of the parameters you want to trace can be reproduced in months, then with a couple of months you can do it. If the stationality of the data is normally 1 year, I mean, this is what normally 1 year will cover everything, then you take 1 year. But I mean, you see this on the feasibility study. We have run and trained models in 3 months. It depends on what you want to model. Yeah.
Thank you, Luis and Julia. So if some of you want to continue the conversation, I guess with Dorian and Valentin will share the contact details to each other so that you can continue, of course. So thank you, Julia and Luis.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you, everybody. It's awesome to stay with you today.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the floor to Balaji from Sensfix. Balaji, can you hear me?
We switch out. We go out, right?
You can stay if you want, but you can leave too. No problem. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you, Luis and Julia.
Thank you.
Balaji, can you hear me?
Hi.
Yes, we can.
So can you all hear me? Very good.
Yes, we do. Do you want to share your screen to display? Yeah. And so, Balaji, so we have 25 minutes together. So the best thing that would be that you speak for 20 minutes and then we have 5 minutes to discuss with the audience.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for the opportunity. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Balaji. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we do. If you can display it like full screen, it would be even better.
So I am the founder and CEO of Sensfix, which is in short terms maintenance, repairs, and operations in asset management as a service for a connected facility. Leveraging important technologies like IoT, AI, and mixed reality. That's AR and VR. So we bring a consolidated, integrated solution so that our end customers don't have to approach different startups or different corporations for all these solutions. So very quickly, I don't want to spend much time here. Just to give you an idea, I think most of the people in the audience know this. So this is some data only for the US. Over $150 billion of new assets from the manufacturing and other industries are added to the asset base, and these devices keep on increasing. And roughly based on your maintenance rules, about 1/3 of the money used for the production is used for operation and maintenance in its entire lifetime. So there are many professionals who work, and they all struggle, as you know, to deal with their assets because of various tools for the connectivity, various connectivity protocols, various data analytics tools from SCADA to different dashboards, and now you have too many asset management tools which we think are all disconnected. So because of this, this is a industrial statistics. More than 53% of current average maintenance workers' time is wasted because he has to wait for instructions, he's moving around. That leads to a huge opportunity in the market. So this is where Sensfix is knocking on the door of many industries in oil and gas, energy, telecom, asset management, smart city, etc. So if you look at the current solutions, so there has been very much advancements on the left on the data and analytics side, and they have left the O&M far behind on the right. So Sensfix is redefining it by integrating the intelligence directly into the O&M, eliminating the need for the dashboard in the middle, and hence we eliminate all the human touch points actually surrounding this dashboard. So with this, you can understand that now the industry is ready for 100% automation of planning and dispatch phase of the service lifecycle, as you see on the screen. So any enterprise you can imagine, there would be an assets. Of course, they would have assets from the wooden furniture to mechanical, electrical, electronic assets. And then now every enterprise will also have an operation and maintenance division, which is now increasingly adopting the AR and VR based mobility solutions. So we as Sensfix bring a seamless connectivity between the assets group and the mobility group, where we fully automate this part of the service lifecycle from the moment something is predicted to fail or something has already failed until the relevant service arrives on the spot. So that's a 100% automation. Now, how in order to visualize how these things work, imagine in your office or in your industry, any asset like an air conditioner would break. So we collect the data from tools like IBM Maximo or even your handheld Siemens PLC SCADA systems, and we make sense, and then we do the predictive maintenance. And now we enable the air conditioner to launch by itself a Slack-like channel, as you see on the screen, pulling onto it the nearest electrician who can fix it, the facility manager, and also the end customer. And how the air conditioner can do all of this by itself is because we provide a back-end automation platform, which is one step ahead of the RPA, the robotic process automation. It's a complete back-end automation where you can digitize your workflows in a matter of few minutes using our easy to build workflow tool, or our AI will scan your hand manuals, user manuals, handbooks, and pick up the workflows, and because of which it knows what to do when something happens. So our vision in the end is to make devices speak by themselves and take care of themselves, rather than waiting for the managers and the entire O&M team to kickstart its maintenance. And any air conditioner can automatically search, find, schedule, and manage its repair and maintenance by itself. So in essence, we are an enterprise SaaS platform for enabling self-schedule, self-calling, and self-ticketing of service by assets. So this is how the entire platform looks like. Important stakeholders like asset manager and owner, they digitize their workflows, and if they are connected to internet through IoT, the sensors will trigger these workflows. If they are not, also we have some handheld means through our apps where people can trigger the workflows. And once the workflows are triggered, the sense channels are launched, and all the stakeholders, the entire service chain, or also a little bit of the supply chain is pulled into the channel, so the device as a proxy manages its own maintenance rather than people. So we basically take the human-centric operation and maintenance model to the machine-centric model because of by including the latest technologies. So an international team spread between the US, Poland, and India. If you look at our competitive landscape, so we bring in more automated decision making as well as infrastructure integration. So infrastructure integration is our core the differentiation over our competitors. You see the building management systems from the likes of Honeywell, etc., or the software like Web Factory, which are integrated, whereas all these new softwares out there in the market, they are not well integrated. So that's our core differentiation. Also, you see during the COVID times, there is increased digital adoption. More RPA platforms are being adopted, process discovery platforms, process mining or hyper automation. So this is where we exactly fit, because we take you can visualize us as one of the hyper automation platform, but we tend to call as a machine to service or the self-ticketing platform for the machines. So we sell as enterprise SaaS. So and these are the metrics which our end customers actually realize. The first visit success rate increases, the mean time to repair comes down, and the repair failure rate can be brought down to less than 1% based on the industry. In the end, we have seen with our customers, it leads to an average savings somewhere between 12 to 30% on the SLA expenditure or the annual maintenance contract expenditure. So these are the customers so far. Now I would quickly go to some use cases. So the biggest use case so far has been a 5G connected factory with a few customers in Europe and one in the US right now, where we bring in an ecosystem of OEM manufacturers who actually deliver many components to the factory, and we play the part of a system integrator software. So one key component of this connected factory is the entire service cloud, which I will show how it looks like in a bit. These are the core, the connected factory applications, the asset tracking applications, to geofence some expensive tools, to track boxes and then pallets, and then connect them to real-time inventory management, as well as to track as well as identify the the collisions of these forklifts inside the factory floor, and then the predictive maintenance of all the industrial motors, different kind of industrial motors to diagnose and then alert for usual I would say the usual motor faults like shaft misalignment, etc. So this is how the service cloud looks like. You can compare us to the Siemens MindSphere model, where everything on the shop floor, from the Kuga robots to the different stations, they could be connected to their internal IT department tools, etc., where they would have a base for applications, maybe an internal cloud or on-premise application. So we connect if you have something based on Microsoft Digital Twin, or we end up creating small digital twins of processes as well as the tools. So we connect the digital twin, as well as we integrate the AR VR solutions either from the third party or what we provide as a basic. So this is a new that we are adding to our platform since 3 months right now. Based on the request from our customers. So the AR VR digital twin is connected, and then you see here all the stakeholders are brought into the network and then connected to the cloud. So again, the cloud implementation could be on Amazon, which is our the native cloud application, as well as the OVH cloud for the EU, or we could also go for on-premise. So the next use case is smart buildings, where we have successfully implemented a new repair and maintenance automation layer that we call. So this used to be a simple cloud service within a few years ago, and right now we integrated with the building management system software as well as with various the gateways and aggregators in a building or any facility, because of which we can talk to different controllers, sensors, actuators in a whole building ourselves. So because of this, we call this a new layer, and these are the few customers who have adopted this already. And the third use case is something we call as OEM Sense for any manufacturer who manufactures, for example, Trilux is a LED light manufacturer, EDP manufactures some gadgets that you see on the screen here. The end customer can, through the app, take a photo of the asset, and our AI scans what asset it is, where it is, and it knows its repair and maintenance history, and it engages the end customer and the whole chain of as I was showing in the previous slides, on one app which we call the Sense channel. So this leads to end customer increased customer satisfaction. It's a real-time machine-initiated service ticket, as well as connected to the assets. We encrypt and decrypt the data from the machine through predictive maintenance. So this has been a very good model where Trilux, the OEM light manufacturer, once the light comes out of the factory for its entire lifetime, it will self-diagnose and self-predict, and then call, and then book tickets and manage. So because of this, the OEM can now launch a new value-added revenue service where they can have more control over the operation and maintenance of their assets, which otherwise, as of today, is outsourced to another company, and then there is a lot of wastage of time and money. Similarly for a motor manufacturer, and then the next use case is of course smart cities, where for the cities, municipalities, or even for bigger campuses of industries, street lights.
Sorry to interrupt you, Balaji. You have 1 minute left before the Q&A start. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So the street lights would automatically repair and maintain by themselves. Again, we collect the data through the protocol. It could be DALI or MQTT, RS485 or SCADA. So we collect the data, we do the predictive maintenance, and then we alert the nearest electrician who can fix it, and then bring all people in real time to see what is going on, so that even the citizens can see, and then see how much money was spent and what was wrong, etc. Oil and gas is another use case where I can show you very quickly in the last 30 seconds I have. So this is one of the customer implementation where you can our customer called Julon actually logs in and then they can see all their oil fields around the globe, and in any oil field, there are assets like top drive, etc. And once they get in, they can see which in the workflows are happening as of today, and our AI actually picks up here and pulls in all the relevant data for the service from PDF manuals, from SAP, from Excel sheets, and actually displays as well as automates decision making, for this particular use case. Yeah, I think in 15 minutes I could show so much. I'm very happy to answer questions and then take forward the discussion in the future if there is any interest.
Thank you, Balaji. It was a great pitch. So the Q&A session is open. So if some of you in the audience have some questions to ask to Balaji, please feel free. No question. Balaji, just a question for me. Would you say from all the projects you've done so far, so your tool can work either if there are connected objects everywhere, or even if there are no connected objects? What would you say that most of your customers are already having connected objects everywhere, or they use your tool like manually, like taking some pictures of the problem and then?
Yeah, in smart city project, it's still not connected that we are doing. So as I show in these two slides, the connected, when there is an IoT sensor, the sensor will trigger the workflows. If it's not connected, people who are on the ground, the service technicians using our app, they simply, if you have used the app like Google Translate, our app is exactly like that. So you take the app and then you show it in front of the asset. So our AI starts scanning the photo and it tries to identify from the database, because it has now the location and the photo, and then with that it can trigger. So right now 2 customers in smart city are using where the assets are not connected using the app. And the same can be done by the citizens. For example, you are walking or even your employees in a company in an industrial campus, any asset inside, like in your air conditioner or street light outside, you can take the app and you can scan, and then it will show you the entire history and what is the status. So you as the end customer would be in real time constantly updated. So you don't have to call or write an email. So that's the point. So our customers in the long run would eliminate their, the call center and all the business analysts and all other ticketing softwares based on emailing. So that reduces, yeah, I mean, it brings in more efficiency, so to say, using AI.
Balaji Margremont speaking from Valorec. I have a question. So it seems that your product requires to have, I would say, quite in-depth first databases and then an analysis of the different business processes in order to be able to model them. How long would it take for a typical use case to be implemented?
So we have integrated about 132 different kinds of IoT sensors and their data. So for the predictive maintenance part, we have done extensive predictive maintenance. I mean, we have developed the extensive predictive maintenance capability for industrial motors, for street lights, and now, so which I can say is about 2.5 years right now. So we have been collecting the data, and our AI models have been updated. Now, typically for a customer, we begin in the industrial, so which is Industry 4.0 space, with a POC anywhere from 2 weeks up to 3 months. So after 3 months, our customers become our SaaS customers. So during this 2 months to 2 weeks to 3 months POC, we check the data format, as well as we make sure if I mean, we show immediately using our existing models for the new asset how the prediction looks like, and if there are some variations, or if there is some more resolution required by the customer, then during the 3 months period we quickly ramp up other models. So far the models that have been actually developed for various customers have been helpful in dealing with a new customer, but as I say, we cannot promise. Maybe there would be a completely new customer where the models require new development, and that can go to a phase beyond 3 months up to, I would say, 6 months.
Okay, thank you.
If there are no other questions, I will be interested in you showing more of your platforms and what you are doing at the end of your presentation.
Yeah. So as I was showing, for example, let me show you what we are doing for Toyota, our customer. So this is how the I think I'll go quickly here. So asset manager logs in, they see the building. So this is a factory and building management platform. They click on any building, they can get into a floor. So we would have digitized the assets in a building. You can go to a floor, you can go to a room. So it's a simple 2D description, or it can be a 3D description. Now, once you get in, say it's an air conditioner out here. Now we would have integrated with your data streams, either it's IBM Maximo or your own in-house through API and other platforms. So we have expertise in that data integration part. Now, say this air conditioner's data has been diagnosed through the predictive maintenance. We understand it needs a fuse replacement. So now our AI algorithms does all these things by itself. It says, okay, it needs fuse replacement, and through your service management directory, our AI picks up, okay, who is the authorized fuse replacement service provider in Paris, for example, and it will make a suggestion, or it will do by itself. So you can actually set these settings in the platform so that it can do by itself. So it will pick up this company by itself, and maybe inside this company you have a most preferred fuse replacement technician. So based on the history, or it can make suggestions, it will pick up the guy, it will get into his calendar, and then book the earliest appointment when he is free, and then he is booked. So once he is booked on that particular day, that guy would have he uses a mobile app provided by Sensfix, where he has all the jobs from various devices and assets in the industry or in the building. The assets book the guy automatically, no human intervention here. And then our Sense channel has these 4 important modules. Job info, which is the air conditioner or any asset would give overall data, so that the guy goes, prepared. It's no more, the first visit is not about going and checking and then coming back prepared, but even before the first visit, the asset is giving the entire data. And then we have a concept called care team, where because one repair and maintenance job will have more than one person, so they can do audio calling, video calling in a team. And of course, there is a chat window where they exchange chat messages, PDF files, audio, video, images, etc. And then there is a digitized service workflow. This is an oil and gas workflow where what they have to do is either digitized by the asset manager on our platform, which looks like this, or it can be, it's a backend platform. Sorry, it's a complete backend automation platform. If you know any tool like LabVIEW, which is used for instrumentation, so we have, so you can think we have built a LabVIEW kind of a thing for process automation, where you can go click and very interactively add and do in an easy to use way. You can build very complicated workflows in a matter of few minutes, or you can, our AI will pick up the PDF manuals and read. So by doing that, the entire workflow is captured here. The oil and gas guy has to check in the truck, he has to assemble the crew, they will drive to the location, and then they go, they perform the job. Once they perform the job, they have to pick up some signatures that they have done the job, how many hours they worked, etc. And then they will check out the truck and come back. So while they are doing all these steps, all the stakeholders have live access to what is going on. So that is what in this platform that I was showing, maybe last 1 minute now. So as you see here, the asset manager for this oil and gas asset, he logs in, he sees all his oil and gas wells around the world. And these are the various assets in an oil and gas. There is some workflow happening on this asset called the top drive. So you can get its information, and you see these are the workflows happening. So there's a 7-day workflow which is happening here. Now you see one step has been performed, and technician still has to perform these steps. Now here you see the AI action. As soon as I click here as the asset manager, I know who is the person working on it, and then what is this asset. Now as I click here, it says AC drill motor. So this AC drill motor is picked up by AI, and then it goes to maybe SAP or their uploaded Excel sheets, and then it picks up all the data for me, which is required for me for the operation and maintenance. What is the date of manufacturer, who is the supplier, etc. So if I go to some other step here, like hydraulic, it changes to hydraulic system. So this happens on the fly. Because our AI is in action in the background. So it has, what is the vehicle used, what are the consumables used, and what is the inventory, and then what are the safety instructions. And it is also connected to as the person on the ground keeps performing these steps, they become green, and then he can actually sign off. So we make a online collaborative performance management system on this. So this is an live demonstration of what we have done for an oil and gas customer, where you can see.
Thank you, Balaji. Yeah. We'll have to stop your presentation. We exceeded the time, but thank you. It was a great pitch. Thank you, Balaji. I'm going to give the floor now to André Godinho-Luz from Infinite Foundry. You can stay if you want, but you can leave. It's up to you. Yeah. Hi, André. We give you the floor.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. You can maybe share your screen if you want to display your presentation.
Absolutely. As I don't have the presentation, I'm going almost to do the same as our previous startup, which I'm going to give you straight for the demonstration, as you don't have too many minutes. Okay. And so that you can see it clearly. So first of all, thank you very much.
So we have just Andre. So we have until 10:45. So the idea is that we have a few minutes to discuss with the audience. So maybe you'll have to stop talking at I don't know 39 or 40, right? Okay.
No, yeah, I'm just going to give around 15 minutes maximum, and then
Okay.
So thank
you, Andre.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. As I mentioned to Jean-François, I'm going to show this presentation in a video so that we have the time to answer some of your questions. So first of all, my name is André Luz, and I am the CEO and the founder of Infinite Foundry, a 3D digitalization platform for industry. This technology basically enables industry to get an exact digital replica or digital clone of the inside of the factory, meaning the equipment, manual operations, etc. And this technology has three main benefits. Can be used for remote monitoring in real time, can be used secondly for production optimization to improve efficiency, and thirdly, can be used for virtual reality training of manual operations. The way the technology works is the first step, as we work purely in 3D, is to obtain the 3D model of the factory. We use a laser scanner to measure in 3D with high accuracy what is inside of the factory. So this is the output directly of the laser scanner. It's called a point cloud because it has billions of points with the color of everything that the laser has hit it. We use these points as reference to obtain the 3D model of the factory. So we have developed an AI geometrical algorithm that scans the laser scan and tries to find walls, columns, pipes, so simple features of the architecture of the factory, and designs them automatically. Other areas that are a bit more complex, like for example this mezzanine here, we still design by hand. But in a real case, we have around 60% automatically, 30 to 40% manual that enables us to obtain first, just mentioning the building part. So all of these points are exactly that reference from the laser scan. So here you have the laser scan data, and after it is processed, then here we are going to see now the 3D model of the building. Then the second part is all about the production equipments. So we have a database, we have developed, and we are still, of course, always increasing our database of standard production equipments. Things like transporters, robots, AGVs, safety nets, conveyors, standard components. We have already the database, the 3D model of that component, and we just pick and place them in the scenario. This that I'm showing you here is the other case. Is imagine a machine that we don't have a database, or we just have small database of parts of the machine. And so in this case, we design by hand. So this is the laser scan data, and after it is processed, this is the 3D model of the machine. We can get any kind of machine that you might have in the production facility. After this first step, basically we got what? We got the 3D model of the building and the 3D model of the equipments inside of the facility. The second step is making the connection of this 3D model with the sensors and the controllers in the factory. So here, this is exactly the same equipment that you saw there modeled. Now we are in front of that equipment, and we are connected to the sensors and the controls in this equipment. So these sensors give us the information: has the cylinder moved or not? Any kind of movement in the machine, we get that information. And so you are seeing here some white components coming up in the scenario here. So there you go, and you see these also in the digital twin. There is a slight delay that is due to the industrial internet. So the time that it takes from the information of the sensor to reach our server, and then we are very fast on computing it and animating. A second case, totally different. This case more robotic area. So we are getting the data from the SCADA system of Siemens, and we are reading that data, and we are computing and getting exactly the animation of this data. So what is the main benefit of this first part? It is you can access, and you have unlimited access to any place in the factory. So even areas that are difficult to access, there is areas that are difficult to see. With the digital twin, you can see automatically. So if, for example, a machine stops, you can see with the digital twin the exact moment when the machine has stopped and how to and exact what has stopped in that with the machine. The second part is the manual operations. So the ones that you have a worker performing a task. In this case, instead of before on the automatic machines, just to remember, we process, so we know the movement of the machine because we have sensors, and we process the controllers of that machine, the information to replicate the movement. On the manual workers, we use a totally different technology. So in this case, we use motion capture technology. Two ways that we can motion capture in 3D the worker. This one, which is the most comprehensive one, it is with a full body suit that has sensors from the head to the toe. So has 18 sensors across the entire body. Another more simple version is a motion capture camera, but this camera also has a second benefit, is not only captures the movement of the worker, but for example also where is the product in the machine. So it has both object detection and skeleton detection of the worker. So in both cases we get this 3D avatar, if you want, so it is an exact replica of the movement of the worker. With the suit, we have a second set of sensors, which is these on the bottom. These are electromyography sensors to measure the strength that the worker is using when performing the task. So the benefit of the two technologies, that the motion, we get the ergonomics. So we know if, for example, in this case, you get the 7 in the body because he's twisting the body to perform this task. And below, we know if the worker is applying too much force, and this may cause some occupational diseases in the future for the worker. With the motion tracking camera, we just have this top part here. We don't have the bottom part. But in both cases, we get the movement, and with the movement, we can of course know the exact times that it takes for each worker to perform a task. We can know exactly variability, so all of these informations that are important to plan changes to the factory. After we basically plug all the information, so the automatic machine, so we plug all the sensors to the digital twin, and we have the motion tracking for the manual operations, we have the entire digital twin of the factory, so the entire clone. The last step is just to get the dashboard that enables the customer to control the digital twin. This first example is for predictive maintenance. Why this is important for this customer? As you see, this is a very mechanical machine, old machine, impossible to access. You have safety nets everywhere, so to enter you have to stop the machine, so it is impossible to get into any of these areas. So the customer was worried, okay, I want to enter virtually in this place. Let me just swap quickly videos so that you can see how is the detail that you can zoom without any constraints. This is another video, but you can see. So it's the same machine, just now zooming. So as you see, you can zoom. You have no restrictions on zooming to any place that you want in the machine. And here, just to also to show you, it's not just the movements of the machine. As you see, we also have the movements of the product because we installed those cameras that I mentioned to you. So those motion tracking cameras, we installed them here on the top, and they were filming and they were getting the motion of the product down here. So this is, as you see, unlimited access. But going again to the dashboard, just a second to swap. Apology, oh, wrong one, sorry. So going again here. So on our dashboard, as this was for maintenance, this dashboard was specifically for maintenance. The first part here was, okay, I want to have the list of all my sensors in the machine so that I know when in the moment that I had the problem, I want to see what was the information of the sensor. So that was the first that the customer asked us. Then in the middle, you have, I'm just going through a bit faster so that we don't waste too much time. In the middle, you have production data. So knowing exactly what was the time that we had the problem, what was the product, because as you see here, they have 4 products. They have 4 different products running in this same machine. So what was the exact product that was being manufactured? So all of these questions more about the production part, and also very importantly here is that these technologies, of course, not only real time, but you can of course search for previous data and see any previous problem that you might have. But here is the most important one for why the digital twin is interesting. Is you had an alarm, so you had a problem. You press it, zooms to the location of that alarm, and allows to play the animation of that problem. I'm going to swap again videos because in this case the customer does not allow us to show more than this. But in this one I can. It's a totally different dashboard, but just focus. So you have the exact. So here you have the problem here, and then you can play the animation of the problem. So you see this thing is moving, but the yellow part is not moving. So you understand immediately. Okay, I got it. Why I had this error was because the yellow part was not moving. So straightforward, super easy. And as you see, this part is totally enclosed in the machine, and we can access this part. Here is also another important part in this case of this dashboard is that you can also simulate changes. So if you have a problem in the maintenance, and you, for example, in this case, they were looking at, can I change slightly a few specs, and I need to measure a bit what is the new deformation of this area. You can also do this. So you can also simulate changes and predict the outcomes of these changes. I apologize to you that this is, you cannot see this perfectly, again, restrictions of a customer of what we can show, but basically this shows the deformation. They change slightly the way this cylinder operates, and it calculated the deformation of this part because this part was connected to an upper part and was causing some stability problems. So this you can also, it's not just, as you see, a visualization technology, it is also a calculation, computing and simulation technology to run these changes and predict these outcomes. Besides this first big group of remote monitoring, maintenance, so managing operation, there is a second big group of our technology which is focused on optimization of the machine itself. So in this case, I'm going to be a bit slow and explain this in detail so that you understand, as many companies you have here, you are a process industry and you are focused more on process optimization, or you actually manufacture some equipments. So imagine a furnace. What is the biggest problem of a furnace is the consumption of energy, and a company that has lots of furnaces, they are always looking, can I reduce the energy consumption of my furnace and still keep the operating conditions properly? In the case of this customer, they had an even bigger problem. So they're an aluminium recycling customer, and they had more than 1,000 different part numbers of the aluminum, because different aluminum sheets, different aluminum materials, so they had more than 1,000 different part numbers. For them, it was almost impossible to fine-tune the operating conditions of the furnace due to this variability. So we have developed a process optimization system that super easy. So the user just say, okay, I'm thinking of selecting this type of gas, this flux gas, this number of burners, and I'm going to use this type of part number. And what the system does is it calculates the physics that is happening inside of the furnace. This is not, of course, the real furnace. This is just for demonstration purpose. So just think that the furnace is this box, and the burner is this red thing here, and then here you have your aluminum sheet. So on the left part, the system computes the gas distribution. So the gas is entering in the chamber, going and then exiting, and how the gas, so all these are, imagine, gas particles, and how do they behave? Why this is important is because the gas is what brings the heat from the burner to the aluminum sheet. So we need to know how the gas behaves so that we calculate on the right part the heat distribution. So the heat going from the burner to the gas, and then from the gas to the aluminum sheet. So in a very simple way and very accurately, we can be super detailed. When I mention accurately, I mention 95% accuracy or more. You can run any kind of simulation scenario. Can I change, the processing parameters? Can I change materials? Can I change whatever? And this predicts the outcome very, very good. So for sustainability requirements, this is important. But also imagine that you are the opposite. You are actually the furnace builder. This kind of technology, when you sell this machine, you can also sell this digital twin with this capability of calculation, physics-based calculation, and this allows them, the customer, to optimize very, 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 very fast the machine according to what they're manufacturing, and this of course you can get a more recurring revenue from this machine. So this can be both applied for processing companies and also for machine builders. Lastly, very quickly, last feature. So I mentioned already remote monitoring for maintenance purpose. Now I mentioned process optimization. Last part is all focus on the manual operations. This is an obvious case, but we have a differentiation in the market. As we capture the digital twin of the factory, the virtual reality training modules are of the exact workplace, so the exact scenario that the worker is going to find in the factory. So this is not a generic training system with a generic scenario, it's the exact factory and the exact workplace that the worker is going to encounter. Why is this important? Because the whole secret of virtual reality training is your brain, because this technology, it is very visual and very open. Your brain wires and memorizes very well this training scenario. And then if you go to a real one and it's different, then your brain gets tricky, and what you learn here, then sometimes you don't apply in the reality. So that's why virtual reality training, it's super important that the scenario that you had in the trainings during the virtual training session is exactly the same that you are going to encounter, and this enables the worker to be to be optimum and to be optimum when they execute the task and have and being and know all the problems and all the things and being productive in the scenario. But I'll stop now. I have more videos for questions that you might have, but I'll leave now the floor for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Maybe Julien from Lectra, can I ask you a question, Jean-François?
Sure. Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Andre, for this presentation, for this very interesting insight. So, as I understand, your business model actually is to propose and to sell a complete platform, which allow your customer to digitalize, for example, manufacturing production, and it's pretty clear for me. maybe my question can be, you talk about to us to a lot of different aspects concerning mechanical properties in point of view. For example, when you talk about digitalization of a manufacturing workplace, it's not the same thing that to try to make topological optimization of a product with your with your simulation. And my question is, what do you think is more interesting for us to try to work with you? More concerning digitalization of about our workplace, for example, or more concerning simulation? What is your point of view?
So we are specialized in factories and operating parts. So we are not specialized in as a product development software. Although our technology you can get some data that is important for product development. For example, when you are developing a product, you need to make sure that it can be manufactured. So these kind of questions, can I manufacture the product with my existing production line? We can help answering them. You know, on specific product optimization, we don't do that. It's more on just helping the customer when they need to change something in their machines to run a couple of scenarios to do this change. So that is our specialization, is operational efficiency, operational optimization, and running these scenarios in terms of maintenance, in terms of efficiency and virtual reality training.
Okay, thank you for this answer. Could you tell us, just for having in mind an idea for us, what is your average bill with your customer concerning this first part about the digitalization?
Imagine a 25,000 square meter facility. You know, an average would be around 60 to 80,000 euros per year on having
80,000 euro per year. Okay.
80,000 euros on this 25. So it has all the features and everything. So this changes a lot because, again, depends on what the customer wants. As you saw on my presentation, you know, the dashboard is fully customizable to what the customer wants. So that price is, because that influences the processing capability. So it changes a lot, but it's going to be between 60 and 80.
And just a last question. I see you use Autodesk software. Is it an obligation for you? Could you use another one?
For the customer, it's not. We are just showing so that just because the first part, it's important, actually very important to your question. This technology is totally developed on top of rendering engines, gaming rendering engines. So we use Unity and Unreal depending on the quality that the customer wants. That small part that you saw at the beginning of the Autodesk is just to say that if the customer wants, we can also output the 3D model to the CAD system that the customer wants. It's just because this software, it doesn't require any CAD system. It's just totally built like a gaming, like, you know, a mobile phone gaming or a console gaming that you have. It is exact, so it is totally standalone system that does not require any 3D CAD. It's just a question that sometimes some customers also ask us, okay, I not only want your software, but I would also like to have the as-built for my CAD system, and we can also output that.
Okay, Andre, thank you.
So even going a bit further on your question, this means that when we provide you the digital twin, there is no licensing on any aspect of this. So it's totally, you don't have any, that doesn't require you to have any other software or any other thing to make this technology to work. One aspect that I may also tell you is that obviously, even for you, as you see, you know, all the cases that I've shown are real customer cases, limited as you see, because we have of course NDAs and a lot of restrictions, and of course authorization to show you these parts. So it is for us. We are very much open to if you would think that this technology could make sense in some areas, in some of your operational areas, we can of course do arrange the demonstration of the technology, and we for that demonstration we just, the only thing that we charge is the going there, so the part of going there, and so just the travel costs, so we don't charge for that, but enables both basically us to know more what is your idea and what was your concern and what you would like to use this technology to solve what. That's number one, and from you to exactly understand the outputs more in terms of, okay, what can I get out of this in terms of time, in terms of efficiencies, so you can have a real case of your operation, not a generic one.
To build on this point, André, in your customer list, what is the main driver for implementing the system? As you mentioned, there might be several benefits, but looking at your reference list, what would be your evaluation of the main motivation of your customers?
Very, very good question, Mark. So I'll break between two different types of customers: assembly and process. So in the assembly customers, the two main drivers are flexibility, so to quickly change production, and manual operations management, because many times it's difficult to track these. You have some problems with that. So those are the two main drivers. On the process industry, it's all about efficiencies, try to reduce energy consumption, try to be more sustainable. So it's more that is the biggest driving force. Although, even on the process industries, we have customers with virtual reality training. So, sometimes these both of cases, they merge together, but I would say that these are the main drivers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, André. We
Thank
are.
You, thank you, everyone else.
Good job. Thank you. Great pitch.
Thank you.
It's a normal one, we usually on these small ones we do in a video, because so that you can have a better idea.
It was a good way.
This small 15-minute pitch we preferred.
Yeah.
The standard PowerPoint.
And so I'm talking to the rest of the audience now. So we have this pause until 11 a.m. So we just switch off my microphone and camera, and then we can. The next pitch will take place at 11 a.m.
So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, André.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Donc, si vous voulez, on prend une petite pause jusqu'à 11h et on reprendra après. Voilà. Tout de suite.
À tout de suite, merci.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. We are actually in a break, so they will be coming back at 11.
Okay.
So that's why there is nobody.
Okay. Yeah, so we just wait the 2 minutes and then
Yeah.
that's fine.
Hi, Marc.
Hello, Jean-François. Bonjour.
Bonjour, bonjour. So we are pausing until 11 a.m.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's better that you are already connected.
Yeah, I thought it. Yeah.
So yeah, we have 2 minutes left. And so you have
20 minutes in summary, right?
20 minutes. So the idea is to engage at the end in some kind of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can talk, I don't know, 15 minutes, and then we can have 5 minutes to discuss, or less, maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
How are things going? Good?
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
We have a public holiday today in Germany, so.
Okay. Actually, I invited another German scale-up, and he told me that.
Yeah. But no worries. So you're my only schedule today. So I was sleeping long, and after our meeting, I will drive and meet some friends today. And yeah.
Is the weather good for you?
Until yesterday, last week was great, but today it's rainy. Yeah. So
we are waiting for the rain in Paris. I think it should happen by the end of the day. Today it's super. We are like in time. It's super humid, super hot.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's same here. It already started to rain.
Okay.
Yeah, but let's see.
Yeah.
All right. Is it kind of a pitching day for several startups today in that round?
Yeah, there are 7 scale-ups. We finish at 12:20. So the audience has already heard for 4 different pitches. So I guess they can be already overloaded. Sorry for you. You're number 5. Yeah, every subject is super dense, so it's not super easy. Also for the audience.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I totally understand. Okay. Then let's see.
Yeah, people should reconnect now.
Philip. Hey.
Hello, Philip.
Hello there.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, and you?
Yeah, everything's fine. Great.
Business booming.
Business is working quite well, so we're happy. Yeah.
Well, that's the same for you, JF.
It is. It is.
We are expanding now our offices to Chicago. That is
wow.
Bigger tasks at the moment. Yeah.
That's the area for factories, old-fashioned factories also in Chicago.
Yeah, that's correct.
They are old-fashioned and super like.
One of our major clients, Trump, they have a smart factory there. So the plan is that we apply all our software tools and the glasses to their smart factory as well. And so that's perfect for us. So we will have an office right around the corner, and then we can go there when traveling.
Gives you a beachhead into the US. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah,
with an existing happy customer.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
And is Nikhil going to be moving to the UK soon, do you think? Or have your plans changed?
I'm just going
to... let's start.
Well, I'm talking to the whole audience. Are you... Because I don't know if you're all connected again or not, or, well, available behind your laptop or not.
I'll put my mic off.
Can we start, or...
For me,
yes.
okay.
For me, yes.
Oui.
Yes.
Let's start.
Ok, parce que j'arrive pas à me rendre compte si tout le monde est revenu en fait. Du coup, c'est pour ça qu'on discute comme ça. Ok, du coup, nous allons recommencer. Ok, so Marcus, if you want to share your screen and you can present what Oculavis does.
Perfect. Yeah. Bonjour tout le monde. My name is Marcus.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. I'm one of the 3 co-founders of Oculavis. We are a software company for remote assistance processes. And today I want to give you a brief slide presentation and afterwards a very small live demo of our software platform. So you get an overview, and in the end, I hope we can start a little discussion and maybe have some further meeting schedules about application cases in your area. Yeah, let's start with a little presentation first. Oculavis Share, software as a service platform for remote assistance processes. The company is Oculavis. We are 5 years old now, making a revenue of about 5.5 million euros last year, and have doubled revenue and employees last year to 60 employees now, 18 awards that we won, also the EIT Digital Accelerator. Yeah, we are certified according to ISO 27001. Our customers and clients are coming from the area of machine tool manufacturing and production industry in general. This image here shows a typical service situation that, yeah, even today we are still facing. These 2 technicians, they are trying to solve a problem, and they are connected with the machine manufacturer by phone and by taking pictures, images, and sending them via email. And sometimes even consumer software is in use. And this is a real situation here, and it's about 5 years ago we took that picture, and 3 days later the service technician had to travel in and he had to work by himself on the situation because he was not able to understand what the 2 people are telling him here. And of course we had 3 days of machine breakdowns there. We had the travel time and travel cost, and the technician that was traveling was totally inefficient while he was traveling. And finally, last but not least, this is just no process because nothing was documented in a real good manner here that was created. And these service situations, these troubleshooting situations, we want to digitally transform. We want to redefine the interactions of that people with such machinery and equipment and give them a great support with our software tool. Basically, our idea is we want to bring knowledge to the workplace by our augmented reality viewer. What is an augmented reality overlay over real equipment? With our workflows. Workflows are step-by-step instructions, for example, an operation instruction or a maintenance instruction based on videos, photos, and text that the technicians can receive. And still, if it's still not possible to solve the problems, the technicians can connect to a remote expert, and the remote expert then has some features and functionalities to draw the attention of the people, for example, to certain pieces, and of course also to document the situation in a so-called service case of our system. And by this, we want to avoid that the experts have to travel, but we want to enable use cases like remote service, remote assistance, but also remote inspections of machinery and equipment to be done much more efficient than it is today. Yeah, what can we do? We can include or we can improve and make processes remotely. And when I talk about remote processes, that always includes also documentation of such processes and also maybe a follow-up process that can be covered in our system. We want to increase machine availability, reduce travel costs and CO2 emissions. And especially for machine tool manufacturers, also new service business models are thinkable with such a software solution. Here you see some example use cases that are done with our software. For example, a remote commissioning of a machine, a remote acceptance test, a remote support of Australian service partners, or a troubleshooting in Asia. Our software can be used in a white labeled way. So especially when you offer digital services on top of your machinery and equipment to clients, this can be very interesting, of course, to also have in your own service application. One or two examples of clients. The laser machine tool manufacturer Trump, they have more than 1,000 smart glasses operating with our software, and they do remote assistance to clients with smartphones and the glasses. And they have really a business model established. So besides the machinery, they sell digital services. On the one hand side, the remote assistance of our software, but also the workflows. And another example, a little bit from a different sector, is the company Boskalis. Boskalis produces and operates vessels, and they have integrated our remote assistance software for inspections, for example, also with the glasses, as you can see here, as production advice on a vessel, like you can see this here, on 26 of their vessels. So also some very nice remote assistance use cases that Boskalis was implementing. So as I said, it's not only the machine tool manufacturing industry, however, this one is our focus customer, but also manufacturing or agency companies, or even offsite, as you can see on vessels, such remote assistance use cases are possible. The final last step, I will jump into the system, and as you can see already, it's also available in French. So I switched it also to French, and I will now show a little bit a very fast remote assistance case by connecting to the person Stefan Nicolas, to the contact here, and I will just give him a call and call to a tablet that is, by the way, directly right next to me. And you can see here that there is a little system next to me, and you can see that I have a shared pointer as the expert. So I can tell the other person, please take a look here. Or if I want him to take a look more to the left, you can see with the little glass, oh, please take a look more here. Okay, here's the part we want to take a look at. So we have a shared pointer, and with that shared pointer, it's very easy to navigate someone, telling him where to take a look at, or please look a little bit up here. Okay, this one we want to take a look at. Yeah, so it's very easy to navigate a person around, but what we can also do is, for example, freeze such an image and then give some instructions, like please place this here. And as you can see on the right side, we can still see what the other person is doing. So we can still see if that person is, for example, assembling this here correctly. Such a situation can be documented in a so-called service case, in a case. And I will now create a new case. We'll name it in English. I can add a description, a place, a date, for example, today, a reference to another system, for example. I would like to add, or further participants, people who can edit that, and even the system that I'm working on, for example, here, the coffee machine. Once I created the case, I can navigate to the case directly with a short link, and we can see here in our case, there's the image, for example, saved, but also I can add, for example, another description to the system. The coffee machine was successfully repaired. Now remember, or imagine, we have finished now our task on this service machine, on this coffee machine here in this case, successfully, and we want to document the situation. We can really close such a case, and then we can generate a PDF as a documentation of that case and directly send it to our client. And it has the whole history of that service case that we just created here on 2 or 3 pages, of course, also with the pictures and also with the information, how long was the call between 2 persons here and what did they do especially. And this service report at the very end of a remote assistance use case is then a final documentation that can be shared with other people. So this was the part of contacts and cases in our system. So basically the parts where we can provide remote assistance. We also have the workflows as a second module in our system, like I initially presented. And the workflows are there to provide step-by-step instructions to the technician on site. And I have a workflow editor where I can change workflow steps like PDFs, like images, but also feedback steps when the technician who has to perform an instruction should give feedback. And once I'm ready and once I have released a workflow, I can start it on any device. Of course, I can start this on a tablet, on a smartphone, on the glasses, but also here on a PC. And one of the major strengths of that system, basically in connection also with glasses, is that you can really easily provide, like a little bit like an industrial YouTube for your own company, very easy multimedia instructions to your clients or to your customers or to your users internally. And this here is an instruction that we recorded together with our partner Steep. This is an example from the military sector, how to change an uninterrupted power supply on military equipment. And yeah, this is one of the example workflows that we created. And of course, you can imagine that such step-by-step workflows, instructions, they can be used for training, but also for operation instructions of machinery and equipment. Once I finished my workflow, I sent back all the information, and I also have a report that, for example, today at 11:14, I did this workflow. And when I look up the detailed information of the workflow, you can also see which steps of the workflow did I really take, how long did it take me, and if I would have taken a feedback, it would be also recorded here. So this was the second module, the workflows module for step-by-step instructions. And the last module, the augmented reality viewer, I will show you on my tablet. For this, I will connect my tablet with the
we have 5 minutes left, Marcus.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. It's only 1 more minute that I need, because we can, in our augmented reality view of the system, oh, where's the server? I need to restart the connection. Try it once again. Connecting my iPad. So what I wanted to show you now is the augmented reality viewer of our system. So in our application, we can select the system that we have. Here it is the coffee machine once again. And just by clicking on the components, as you can see this here, we get another additional information to that coffee machine. For example, if it would be able to provide live data, also live data, performance, but also technical documentation, like you can see this here, for example, PDFs, etc. So this augmented reality view gives additional insight to equipment and will help the technician maybe to solve his problem. All right, that was the third and last part of my presentation. So once again, to sum this up.
Just sorry to interrupt, but there are only 4 minutes left. So maybe we could ask the audience if they have at this stage any question to ask you.
Correct. Yeah, I just wanted to finish with the overview slide here.
Yeah.
I have a question regarding workflows. Do you have if? So if the part is on this side or on this side, then do this, or else do something else. You know, some kind of multi something workflows.
You mean connect? The workflows can be played by several people at the same time, so that is working out.
The question would be if the switch is on the left, then you need to do something, and if it's on the right, then you need to do something else, and then it comes back to the same same something. You know, some kind of fork into the workflow.
You mean something like image detection, so that you can recognize the situation on site, for example?
Maybe the operator just choose which one of the branch he wants to use, but yes, something like that.
So at the moment we don't have steps like this included, but for example we are working together with the company Bosch on object detection. This is one of the things we are going to do with the workflows in the future, so that you can include steps where you can detect objects and with it also maybe correct position of objects. But it's not included in our productive version yet.
Okay, let me just, you say position of objects, or if the light is red, then you need to also, I don't know, switch off or go to the main plug and unplug the thing. You know, it's just more a question of forking and having alternative path, not just linear. So, but visibly
okay.
just linear.
At the moment, it's linear workflows. That is correct, because the major idea was to provide an extremely simple way of creation and retrieving that everyone can use. And so we wanted to majorly reduce the complexity of such workflows. So that is really linear, and the application cases are, I would say, mainly training cases, instruction cases, etc.
Okay, clear. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yeah, I've got one. Marc Bremont from Balorec. On this field, I think you have quite a number of competitors. The field of remote assistance and this workflow assistance and so on. So I wouldn't say it's crowded, but we can find many actors on it. Yeah. What would be your main differentiators compared to competitors?
Yeah, that's correct. For us, it's really about quality and usability leadership. So when you see the range of feature, and I hope you also got a first feeling of how the usability of our system is, that is typically why we win in the competition. And we are, for example, with the company Trump, with ThyssenKrupp in France, also with NG, for example, we have some clients where we have beaten all of the others already. And yeah, it's crowded because it's also a big market. So I would say it's not a bad sign that there are also some competition. But typically we win with usability, feature range, and quality aspects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no more questions, then we will thank you, Marcus, for the presentation.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Philippe, also for being here. And we will give the floor to Expivi, and we'll continue on the augmented reality field with Babak, the CEO of Expivi, and Sean on the Expivi team. Thank you, Marcus. You can stay if you want. You can leave. So you do what you want.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a good day off.
Okay. Hi, good morning. I hope you can hear me well.
We do.
Perfect. Good. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen to share our presentation.
We see your screen.
Perfect. Good. Okay. So yes, hi, we are from Expivi. So basically what Expivi is a 3D configurator and visualization platform with the opportunity also to showcase everything in augmented reality. So to start off with our first slide, which basically shows a little bit of our configurator, of our layout, but it also shows that we are multi-platform, which means that we can run on desktop, we can run on mobile, we can run on tablets, and all in the same user experience. So to give you a little bit of background and also quite the understanding of what we're going to do in this presentation, we used some reference from Gartner. I will just jump back. So basically, there have been some research in the past, and it's also our understanding and our vision of the company is that really like a 3D configurator helps companies to basically create efficiency on the internal side, but also because it's really a visual tool, it helps to basically increase the deal win rate and lower the cost because you don't need to do internal prototyping. I will show a couple of examples on this and to let you understand a little bit better what that means. But basically the whole point here is what we kind of want to show is, okay, a 3D configurator and our vision around that is that creating a visual impact for the customer or for internal people really helps them to understand the product, understands the possibilities with it, and also creates a higher conversion rate and a lower cost or lower returns. So jumping a bit back about what is Expivi, we are founded back in 2017, originally came out of the gaming industry and are now headquartered in Eindhoven, where also the company started. We got also an office in the US and are about to reopen our Munich regional office. Due to COVID, we closed it slightly because people couldn't travel there, but we are about to reopen that one as well to service more the German region. And we're looking into expansion for France and for the UK as well. Now, currently, we have 38 full-time people. We got our own development team, which is sitting out of Eindhoven. We got our 3D team that's running our 3D projects and basically building all the configurators so we can also run project work. We're not just a software company in the sense of just selling licenses. And besides that, we've got our office in the US, which exists more of a sales office and project management to service our clients there. Now, the yellow dots is where we have our customers, so you can really see like we're operating on a worldwide level. We have customers up from Southern America, up to Asia, up to a lot of clients in the US and Europe. Where we started, so the core team, Babak, our CEO, is also on the call. He's listening in, and if there is any specific questions for him, he can answer them as well. But basically, our founders are Babak Siamak, including our CEO and also co-founder Jur, and then Ben, who is running the operations here out of Europe, and Dale, the operations out of the US. Okay, so jumping a bit into what is Expivi. As I said already, we are a 3D visualization and configurator, including augmented reality. What does that mean? To start off with, it's basically you can view products from every angle in 360 degrees. So there is the visual part where you can really see the products, you can turn them around, you can zoom in, you can zoom out to really like almost to get a feeling on a web-based solution of the product. Besides that, you can also personalize it, you can configure it. So you can change every single element of the product, you can add elements of the product. Again, I will showcase a couple of examples which makes it a bit clearer of what I'm talking about. But the main point is basically on real time when you make changes in the configurator, it immediately gets visual on the other side as well, where you can then really in 3D see what you're actually doing with the product. Besides that, you can then also link it to pricing, which means you have a CPQ tool, which is configure. That's the part where we talk about. You immediately get the pricing. So if I would change an element, it immediately links into your pricing. So especially on products that have a lot of different SKUs, it's a really important point because that means that when I'm changing this, I immediately get visual, okay, that has an impact on my price, and you kind of get to understand what you're building. And then the last part is you immediately can also run that into a quotation and then can also link it into your further systems like your ERP system or even into your production process. Now, if you want to see products for certain products, it's very important to see it in your own environment. We also now have the augmented reality based on WebAR. So you don't need to download any app or anything. You basically, through WebAR, we immediately kind of render the same 3D file into a web-based environment, and then you can show it in your own environment as well to get a little bit more of a visual feeling of what you just configured. Okay, so what does that mean? We've been talking a couple of points already, but what is the really main point of using a 3D configurator and augmented reality? I think the main point is really like a faster time to market. It is both from an B2C and from an internal point of view, really like increasing that efficiency to get your product to market. Now, if you're thinking about products where you have a lot of different SKUs, as I said before, what does it mean if you're making changes? If you have a lot of different options of your product, now with a 3D configurator, immediately when you're selecting something, immediately gets visual for the customer. On the other side, if you're thinking about prototyping, where internally you want to show your product to different markets, to different people within the company, you don't need to create a prototype anymore. You can, for example, create it completely in a 3D configurator, and then you can just send the link around. People can look at it, can maybe even make changes, can change products, can give their feedback, which really gives like a really increase of your efficiency level, but also decrease your internal costs. In line with that is a faster offer generator. As I said already, you can link it immediately to pricing, but then you can also link it to either immediately to your e-commerce system, where you just don't, the customer doesn't need to go back anymore, and can just put the whole product in the shopping chart and just go through the payment process, or you go through the quotation and actually link it to an ERP system, where then people immediately can be contacted as soon as they created their whole product in the configurator. Besides that, we also kind of, what you're doing is you're tracking, you know what customers are doing, you know what they're doing with your product, you know what they think is interesting, so you kind of get analytics, which then helps your efficiency on a later step again in the whole process. And it's all about increasing conversion, engagement, sales, and efficiency. Now, we created the backend, so Expivi is the software platform for that, and we have certain tools in that software platform. Now, one of the things, we have an open API, so we basically can integrate with any other platform as well. So we can integrate with a WordPress, which is not an e-commerce side. We can also go into a WooCommerce, which is the e-commerce side of that, where we have existing plugins. So there's a couple of existing plugins already existing, which basically means you don't need to do any coding, but in any case, we can connect to any platform or any third-party system as well. So any integrations, it's open and it's easy for you customers basically to do. And besides that, we have a rules-based engine. So that means if you select, for example, option A, only option B and C are available. And if you select option B, only option X and I are available. That means you have kind of a smart system that helps you quite easily without any difficult coding in our backend to create like rules that helps to understand the different options of your product, which again then is visually appealing, which helps either from an external or from an internal point of view to understand the complete package and options of your product. So what is the platform? It's a complete SaaS-based solution. It's no coding. So we create a visual CPQ that's linked with pricing, and it's linked with your quotation process. We have augmented reality including. We have plug and play options. That's what I meant when I was talking about plugins that we have already existing that are out there, for example, for Shopify, for a WooCommerce, or for a Lightspeed. And we have a whole project team that basically can create a complete configurator, can help you with any questions, or we can even create 3D files if they're not existing yet. So how we really would position our platform, if we're talking about our competitive advantage on the back end, it's really like what is the key element is that we can really handle so many different options and variations of your product. What that means is if you're looking into all the different variations and the rule-based system, it's really an easy tool to get everything and understand the complete product. Besides that, we also can create a bill of material, which then again goes back into the whole backend system that I was talking on before, is for the whole production process, but also in your ERP system to understand what all the different elements are of the product that just have been configured, and what you basically would like to in an automation process, which basically is needed to create the final product. Okay, so that was a lot of information in regards to the product. And now I'd like to go into a couple of examples because, again, it is a 3D configurator, it's a visual product, so it kind of helps with these examples to understand what I was just talking about. So this is just a short video. I will put the sound out. But basically, what we're trying to showcase here, we're talking about a server rack, but this is kind of one of the examples where actually products in the manufacturing business can be also really interesting for configurators. The reason is here is what you're building up here is basically your server room and server rack options. So this can be used internally for salespeople to sit with the customer and for them to kind of make visual in a conversation what they're basically putting together. Or if you want to link it into your website, it can also be a tool for your customers to understand better what are the options with your product. So what we're doing here, as said, you can see it in 360 degrees. We're adding products, we're adding elements, we're duplicating them, we're positioning them on a certain floor. So basically, in this case, in the server room. So you're building up your complete environment. But then on the back end, you're immediately linking that into, in this case, the SAP ERP system. So what you can see here, it's immediately linked to pricing. You immediately get to understand what the different elements are that someone configured. And then also you can kind of understand when everything would be ordered, it's basically how you, what the customer have been ordered and what would be your follow-up process. You immediately have all that information together to then contact your customer as well, or to just save it and make sure that at a later stage after your sales process, you can go back and basically say, okay, this is what we discussed. This is what we configured. This is your setup. This is now all visual. This would be your price. So to give you another example, this is a prominent case. This is really, this is a Dutch brand for furniture. Now, they are using it for B2C, but I can also imagine that it's really an internal tool for prototyping, for example. So what we're doing here is the configurator basically shows all the different options of this particular share. So it shows the different colors, the different materials, the different setups. You can select a different foot. You can select a different layout. You can select if you want to have it electrical. So basically, all options are available. Now, how that also can be used, I'm just imagining this is in an internal, as an internal tool where you then really, for example, can prototype your product. You can internally share what all the different options are. You can look into different materials. What are those materials? What is the impact on the final product? So it's really like a tool to visually showcase all different options. In this case, there would be maybe 1,000 options for this share. Now, imagine if those 1,000 options need to be available on an e-commerce platform or even in an in-store environment. So if all those options are available, it means that you need to create quite a lot of either pictures, 2D rendering, where now in the 3D rendering, you just in one configurator, you immediately have all options visual. You have the pricing attached to that. You can go into the quotation process, and you can also generate basically a PDF with all the different options that have been selected. So all of that really, in this case, really helped them for a shorter time to market. But also basically reduce their inventory costs, because those costs, you don't need to have the product available anymore. You have all the options now visual in the configurator.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sean. We only have 3-4 minutes left. So maybe the audience has some questions to ask you. Or not. It's not an obligation.
Is it possible to add an animation on your product? Like making them moving?
Sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Is it possible to add an animation on your product? Like making your object moving?
So you mean like, okay, I think I get your question. So the whole idea is that you could create like different, I'll give you an example. You could, for example, create a different background where you could move the product around in the room. You could potentially create certain movements around it, but not the product itself. So for example, if you have a curtain and you want that like floating or something like that, that's an option that's not yet available now.
Okay, thank you.
So one of the options as well, when we're talking about the configurator, is that also we have been talking about the augmented reality option. So in this case, you can also try the example, for example, with prominent. In the case of the share, but in this case, it's about tableware. But basically, you can then see the configured product in your own environment. You can kind of showcase it, you can walk around it, and you can really see what you just configured and how that would look like. So that's the WebAR option that comes as part of our platform. And you don't need to have a standard app or something for that. You just really go through WebAR with just like one click on one button. Okay, one of the last steps, we talked about a lot before we go into the case studies, is our steps of implementation. So what's kind of needed to kickstart a project. So 3D files, either we can render them for you, render them from existing products, from pictures, or either you delivering the 3D files and we're putting them into the Expivi environment. Setting up the rule-based engine for the configurator, the different options of the configurator, so kind of understand what are the options that you want to showcase, and then the integration part, which either goes through an API or through a plugin. So it's really like a three-step approach, doesn't have to be difficult, and can be rather quick. So this is a couple of our customers, so to let you understand that we really like operate from in the furniture industry, into manufacturing, into merchandising, so different, like really different type of customers. Internal use, for example, for Colombia, for prototyping, B2C use, yeah, really a big range of different customers that we're having, and different ways of using our tool. So if we still have some time, I wanted to show you.
Actually, we just reached the 20 minutes. It's only a 20 minute slot, Sean.
Yeah. Okay.
So sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you because there's another pitch just behind you. Thank you for the presentation. Actually, you can stay if you want, but I'm gonna give the microphone to Structr, GmbH, and Jeff Stone. I've seen that you are connected.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, Shona and Babak.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff, can you hear us?
I can.
You can. Great.
Sean, you're welcome to stay if you want to see who we are.
You can stay, Shona and Babak.
So I'm gonna jump right into it then. Share a screen. And
magic happens.
Magic happens. I decided to do this presentation in reverse order to what I've normally done. The questions I get kind of are, it takes to the end until someone understands what it is I'm talking about. So develop differently. Classic application development, software applications. Weeks and weeks or months of talking about what it is you want to build, then creating a document, requirements document, and send it to a development team, front end, middleware, and back end developers, who then spend quite some time coding, sitting behind a keyboard and slamming away at it. Eventually, you roll out the software, and then the stakeholder comes back and says, well, that's kind of what I was looking for, but we need to do a lot of changes. We in Structr, we're low code. Low code means, well, quite simply, it means we're quick, we're fast. We generally do in just a couple of days what takes weeks or months for a classic development team to create. So that's in a nutshell what we're discussing. I will get rid of this, jump straight into this, and I guess I didn't even introduce myself. I should do that. My name is Jeff Stone, Structr GmbH. We're in Germany. We're in Frankfurt. We're an 11-member team. I do have that in the sales pitch deck, so we'll talk a little bit further. I'm an American who retired and stayed here in Germany after 20-year U.S. Army career. So that's who I am. What we have here, Structr, is web-based software application development tool, rapid application development. We had a 2-hour phone call with a potential customer. They were bidding on a project, and it was a ground-based telescope. They lost the bid, so we kept the demo that we built, asked them, they gave us permission, and we kept the demo that we built. 2-hour phone call was the requirements portion. They described what it is they need to do. We gave them suggestions, and it took a Structr developer 2 days and maybe 3 days, because by the time they sent us the dummy data and we started, we still had a day to our next phone call. So 2 days this existed. It was polished for another day. This searchable portion was added, for instance. But that's rapid application development. Then what next phase would have been is the stakeholder gets with the Structr developer and says, yeah, but this is what I'm looking for, but we need to do some other changes. This is asset management with a cause and effect. They decide the motor that turns the roof of the ground-based telescope needs to be bigger. What does that affect in the project? Well, other equipment, the mounting for the motor, the gears for the motor, are they strong enough? The drawings need to be changed. The gauge of the wiring, is that still sufficient for a larger motor, and so on. So it's cause and effect. That's real quick on just a demo of what we can do. This, like I say, 2 days, 3 days to build this, to be honest. And our projects, this is very simple, but as complex as needed. So I go into what is actually Structr. This is Structr. Web-based designing. You know standard JavaScript or other development. For instance, this is JavaScript here. Days and days and weeks of doing this. Brackets, squiggly lines, requirements, and so on. So, yeah, we're web-based. Now, question 2 of the Structr platform and our unique selling point is we are based on graph technology, graph database. Relational database, loosely, not literally, but loosely, think of an Excel document, rows and columns. And when you get into 1 million rows and 1 million columns, or 100 million rows, and you need to search that data, every time you do a search, you're going to be searching each one of those fields. Graph database, loosely think about the visual that I use is you've seen the airport maps, the airlines, where their flights go. It's a map of the world, and there's the red bar from city to city and so on. That's a graph database. If you want to search on something, you search Munich airport, and you see those bars going, and you select it, and then everything else disappears instantly. And then you want to search, you want to get to Jackson Hole, Wyoming from Munich. So you select Munich and you select Jackson Hole, Wyoming airport, and everything else disappears. And then you find that a flight to get to Munich on that airline is Munich, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and you've done that in a millisecond. So you've got large amounts of data that are interacting with each other, and search you have questions on searching. Today's world, I mean, the massive example are picture files or even video files and searching pictures. Things like facial recognition is a classic graph-based application. That's what you want to do. So to get back to the tool again, in development, in software development, you create a schema that is generally a static drawing of how your software works. Structure, it's a part of the development process. You develop inside the schema. So you don't need to go back and type and create links to where you're going. You come in here and you connect data workplace. I'm not going to do it. I'm not a developer, and I tend to wreck this tool when somebody has to come back in and fix my mistakes. But you create a link from a node, which is demo workplace and demo email. And then you create the link, and that is the relationship. So what does the relationship need to be? Time, of course, goes quick. We're 8 minutes into it, so 12 minutes left. The rest of these is it's too long for this discussion here. But these are how you what Structr looks like, and when you get into you've got rapid applications. So a developer day, person day, is probably around €1,500 per day. We in Structr, at the initial onset, we're lightning fast. For the entire project, we say that we are generally going to be 50% faster at a minimum. So you're going to spend half the money during development time. Now, there are many low-code platforms out there. The question to start with, our unique selling point is we are graph-based. We are a graph-based low-code platform. So big enterprise, we as a small company, we do a lot of projects that are, $50,000, $100,000 range. Where we are set up, and we're taking the step into the big top. We've got a couple of major enterprise projects kicking off here soon. So we are, a scale up. We're way past. It's a 10-year company. We're a mature tool that works. So you've got that graph base. You've got massive amounts of data and changing data and interconnected data. You've built a tool. This tool here. During a presentation, I asked the tech side from Structr. I said, change one of these icons. He had no warning. Had no warning that I was going to ask him to do that. He would what he basically did was came in here, selected this icon, and he changed this paintbrush into the eyedropper, the classic fill eyedropper. It took him maybe 90 seconds, and he broke in. I kept doing a sales pitch. He broke in maybe 90 seconds later, told me to refresh the page, and this paintbrush was now a different colored eyedropper. So it's lightning fast modifications to running systems. The system is up and running. You don't need to take it offline and create hassle to make changes. So we develop quickly, and it's a very easy to modify system where you've got the stakeholder can look. This is the view a stakeholder and a developer can work together on changing the application. I use the example, it's a Swiss Army knife. I like to be compared to IKEA or IKEA, depending where you are in the world. IKEA furniture for what it is. Now the comparison needs to end where you get to kind of the quality of the furniture. Where I like to compare is the warehouse shelves are full of anything you can possibly need, and you can quickly select it, find it, and walk out the door with it. we in Structr can develop up into, if you're staying with the furniture motto and theme, the highest quality furniture and most complicated furniture you can imagine in the world, but just as quickly doing it, walking out the IKEA store with it. I'm going to go into the sales pitch deck now. It's 12 slides, unless anyone has any questions. Security, for instance, here, create users and user groups and then give them accesses. Any technology that's available to any other developer, you'll find in Structr. So any questions before I do the sales pitch deck in my remaining couple of minutes? Good. Out of breath, talking so
we have 7 minutes left, Jeff.
It looks like it. Yep.
Or maybe we should keep like Q&A discussion for it.
These 12 slides, let me go through them in 2 minutes flat, and we'll do that.
Okay.
Need to be inside the window and not quite working quite properly, but founded in 2011, so it's 10 years old, headquartered in Frankfurt. We've been Corona, working home office and so on. We have these customers and we have landed a number more. We have several customers here that have NDAs that don't want to show their name, but certainly recognizable. Never taken any venture capital of any kind. This is Graph, and Graph is your first question really should be, do I need a graph database? And then if you do, that's where you say Structr. That it should be the first thought. COTS is commercial off the shelf. Think Excel, shadow IT. Somebody spending weeks and months building an Excel sheet that kicks butt. It's low cost, but generally the business value is what it is. And then the other end of the spectrum is also low cost with a high business value. These 5 bullet points are my main slide. Structr takes a repetitive nature out of coding, dramatically increasing developers' productivity. Developers hear low code, they often think 2 things. Either it's not as good as me sitting on a keyboard, or if it's fast, it's going to take work away from me and I need work to make money. Then they work with Structr, and I like to say Structr takes a good developer and turns them into a superhero. Allows them to be more creative and frees up the imagination. You work with stakeholders, and developers can work very closely together on the tool. Faster development and lightning fast modifications to running system. I described that. And then the 5th bullet is return complex queries in a blink of an eye. That is the graph database advantage. And this is the popularity of graph databases. The theory is from the 1700s. In computers is from the 70s or 80s. The popularity and the working systems is just less than 10 years old of graph. So now even all of the big players are now also creating graph databases. So the names, Oracle or Windows or whoever, Amazon Web Services. So this is Structr is this type of coding up to this type of coding. So it's the from to, it's the whole gamut. There are 2 pages here of examples, use cases. Now this pitch deck, to close the presentation, I'll show you where to get it off of our website. It's available for you to look at anytime you'd like. This is how quickly we develop into the minimum viable product within, a short period of time. Structr is fast. Developing with Structr is fast. Software developed in Structr is fast. And these last 2 pages are where do you save your money? I think the second page in this short amount of time is traditional development, and with Structr, data modeling, that initial phase, lightning fast. Because you're lightning fast here, and then you are developing with the stakeholder and the developer working together, it's also faster on target. So it's lower total cost of ownership for all types of projects. And the more data modeling backend heavy, the more money you save. True. And this is available. I'll show you pricing real quick. It's available. You can get it at /pricing, but we don't have it linked. I'm changing the pricing. Another example, time is running, but another example, this, to add this was about 60 seconds. I said, I'd like to have this on it. I saw it on another page. It took my developer about 60 seconds to create that. So Structr.com in the library, and there's the pitch deck. So you can take a look at that. I'm done. I'm ready for questions. Unfortunately, only a couple minutes.
Yeah, we have only 2 minutes left.
I
Is
lied.
there
I said
a question for Jeff? No, don't worry. Is there any question?
I guess not. Left them speechless.
I remember that you, in the maybe in the audience, there's someone from Suez, and I remember. So Suez is one of the main companies working in the water and waste management in France, in the environment, let's say, industry. I remember that you have this use case related to environment, Jeff. I don't remember where you did that and with whom, but I had that in mind.
Sure.
Yeah, it's on the web. It's in here. This one, environment.
Sure. It's Vintage Spike. It's a community in the Netherlands who wanted to do a number of things. Here's kind of an example of graph database modeling. That is a civil engineer in the city wanted. It has a lot to do with zoning and all the rules and regulations for building. For instance, you have to do studies on, are you allowed to build this type of building? What does it affect on the environment and so on? He's built a tool that we are creating a white label product for all of the Netherlands, will be marketed throughout all of the communities, 350 communities in the Netherlands. And it allows you to click on a plot of land. Each plot of land is available on a map, and immediately you can see what it is you could build there. Can you build a factory there? Or can it just be a residential? Or can nothing be built there? That is just one stage of the environment. It's also light discipline, a lot of geospatial relationships. It's looking at satellite data for light pollution and so on and so on and so on. So, and a lot of, I know this is directed towards industry. We have links where Internet of Things, factory automation can run through Structr and can quickly connect your diverse Internet of Things, IoT objects. My time is up. I'm available if you have any questions.
Is there one question or not for Jeff?
Just you are very quick on your business model, and you showed a very quick slide with the prices, which I didn't have the time to get properly.
Mm-hmm. Structr.com /pricing. Prices.
Okay.
Pricing. Yeah, and that is, we are happy to discuss individual pricing plans tailored to your unique situation. Yeah, this is where we start. This is where we start pricing. We're helping a one-man startup with rock bottom pricing. Pricing is I adapt pricing to make sense for the project. Okay. If you have a customer that's looking to develop and you're not going to win the customer at, say, this price, just because it's the complexity of the tool as well. And so we use this as a, what's the word, a basis. This is where we start at, and maybe 75% of our pricing follows this model, but at least 25% we divert off of this pricing.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, I'm a minute over. Just clicked over to 2 minutes. I'm sure your next person's waiting. I'm available. I'm sure Jeff will give.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff.
My contact info.
We'll manage to do the interface between you and the audience if there are any conversations to happen after this speech. Thank you, Jeff. I'm gonna give the floor stage to SwipeGuide now. You can stay if you want, or you can.
Holiday over here, holiday weekend, 4-day weekend. Take care, y'all.
I'm sorry, sorry about that.
Bye.
Thank you, Jeff. Bye-bye. So, who takes the floor in the SwipeGuide team? Is it Jean or Dan? Is it you, Dan, who does?
Yeah, it will be me. Yes.
Nice to meet you. We never interacted before together.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Et enchanté, Jean. Enchanté aussi de vous connaître.
Enchanté, enchanté.
Okay, so we have 20 minutes. It includes the Q&A if there are any questions from the audience. So it's up to you to fit in this 20 minutes slot. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'll start with sharing my screen. Do you see it?
We do. Perfect.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. So what I will do in these 20 minutes is products. I think something went wrong. Do you still see my screen?
Now, yes. Just before it was my face on full screen.
Yeah, it was strange. It's
okay,
switched. Yeah, so company problem we're solving, product, and then the use cases. So to give some examples. But maybe first about the company. So meet SwipeGuide. We're a technology scale-up company backed by investors. So we have some venture capital partners that we work with that are specialized in the field of software for businesses, and Speed Invest specifically also for industrial applications. We have a team of 30 people, quite international, based out of, well, currently mainly remotely still, but we have a headquarter in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, and we started off in the US, touched base there in Minneapolis. And we are all about digital work instructions as a means to capture critical operational knowledge, because we think that the world of instructions is still broken, and we think we have a solution where we can help companies improve capturing, sharing, and continuously improving their critical operational knowledge. That has been recognized by EIT because last December we were selected as EIT Digital Winner in the category Industry Tech. So what do we do? Well, start off, what do we do for customers? So our solution improves the productivity for customers in manufacturing and field service engineering. So we work for companies like Heineken, Coca-Cola, Orkla, PepsiCo, all in manufacturing, and engineering companies like ABB, Fujiseal, Rayco Granning, Ocean Cleanup, that are sort of the organizations that also have a need for distributed knowledge to their service engineers or to their customers. All things are pretty visual and really have to do with equipment. That's, I think, where we find our sweet spot. Then a bit about the numbers. So what is sort of the current traction that we're having? In the platform, we have over 25,000 work instructions, capturing sort of digital versions of task executions. We touch upon the lives of almost 100,000 frontline workers, quite global, different languages, with a lot of people creating also the knowledge in the platform. And in manufacturing, we touch upon over 250 shop floors across the globe. And the problem that we're solving is more or less has to do with the fact that instructions in most companies are still stuck in the past century. So we see still a lot of SOPs and documents that are quite critical for your operations that have this traditional setup, so are quite text heavy, are sometimes even on paper still, or somewhere hidden in SharePoint, in PDFs, but they have issues. So it's pretty difficult to understand this material. It's hard to find the right answer to your question. They're not really easy to use in your work, so to say, to support you in your work. Sometimes even not up to date. So we see that there's old information, or the most recent standards are not even documented. There's no tracking of what knowledge pieces are people actually using, and is it helping them? And it's also quite complicated to make, maintain, and distribute the material. So it's quite a challenge. And this challenge with sort of capturing, sharing, and improving your critical operational knowledge is impacting the bottom line in companies. So we see that it impacts productivity, and research shows that 2 to even up to 5% of productivity lost is due to lack of knowledge, or bad and missing instructions. And of course, that is costing companies billions every year. So we try to help them improve that, improve productivity through improving their processes, making sure people perform tasks safer, better, quicker, by making sure that the knowledge, the critical knowledge, is captured and available for the people when performing these jobs. So that is what SwipeGuide is all about. So we created, how we like to frame it, the new industry standard for digital work instructions, with a very user-centric design where you need no training to get started. You can go live within a week, no real implementation need. We have a pretty light onboarding process. And you can create your first solid business impact within a month. So ease of use for us is critical. For what you see here in the middle on the big screen, the CMS part, so where you create, where you document the knowledge, and the other part is the viewer part that you see on the tablet, where people have access to the knowledge, being a combination of media, so visuals or videos, text and background information. And that runs device agnostic, so you can use the material on tablets, on smartphones, on wearables like smart glasses. For us at SwipeGuide, it doesn't really matter. We want to be able to deliver to the device of choice for either your manufacturing or field service workers. What are the main pillars of the product? Before I go to the use cases, the first one is capturing knowledge should be really, really easy. So we have a platform that allows you to create and publish a complete documented task in minutes. We have a very intuitive drag and drop editor that allows you to do so. And you can then publish multilingual sort of standards to execute a task that are visual explanations, really, really easy. So we see a lot of customers that even include their shop floor workers in the creation of standards with validation through engineering or quality departments. So really, this sort of ease of use allows you to crowdsource the critical knowledge even from the shop floor. Then it is, of course, important that the knowledge is available at the moment of need. So we really put a lot of effort in integrating the knowledge in your workflows. So we have QR codes, links, embed codes, and we sit with customers to see how can we deliver knowledge at the moment that it is required to the worker. And that can be anything like, okay, this is for training purposes, but also often we try to really integrate that learning into the work. And for instance, integrate the QR codes with SAP work orders to make sure that people, when they receive a work order, immediately have all the knowledge available to perform a task. So make sure that it is available instantly is critical. And then the use anywhere. So you should be able to use it on a shop floor, behind your desk, standing at a machine, even on a remote oil rig. So we, as said, are device agnostics. You could use the SwipeGuide material on any device, but also in on and offline mode. So if you are in a remote spot, you can have downloaded material and make sure that you can perform the job even without internet connection, just utilizing the knowledge that you have stored on your device. So using it anywhere. And then the final product pillar, so to say, is the Of course, the tracking. So in the beginning, I said you have limited information often with the traditional documentation and knowledge that you have. With SwipeGuide, you can track everything. So we can capture feedback from the front line, improvement ideas. We can capture input on checklist. We can do sign-offs on procedures. We track also the behavior of users in the system. So we gather a lot of analytics about how people perform a task, where they get stuck, how they think about the instructions, what can be done better. So we have real-time insights that support you in your continuous improvement journey, but also capturing data that you need for compliance. And then, of course, sort of as a fundament under the platform, we have smooth collaboration as an important topic. So when you want to crowdsource also your standards from the floor, it is important to have this workflow in place and document control. So we support that. So you can easily create guides on the shop floor in minutes or in the field in minutes, have a thorough review and editing process, have official approval before it gets published, and then again do the whole feedback loop with capturing feedback, tracking the data, and then doing an improvement loop. So we support that with approval workflows, complete version management, and tracking the whole revision history of the full knowledge base that you have in SwipeGuide. So that is a bit about company product. So then look at ROI and the use cases. So for us, it's important to make a business impact. So the first thing is, of course, when you look at creation, capturing of knowledge, we want to be the most efficient solution. So drop in authoring time we see in all our customer implementations with up to 60%. And then we want to make sure that we raise productivity or increase efficiency, and we do so with first-time right. So we see that the quality can go up. That's what the first-time right impact measure does. Changeover is efficiency, so we can reduce changeover times with SwipeGuide, and all kinds of other performance indicators like OPI is waste reduction, 5S and KILT scores are more maintenance related scores, where we also see that we can make an impact with our customers. These customers being, and I selected 3 customer cases from some sort of different areas to present to you today. First one being ABB. For ABB, we do 2 use cases. So the first one is to capture and distribute field service knowledge. So ABB has a lot of field service engineers that do troubleshooting the whole day, and they need to have a very easy way of documenting the troubleshooting knowledge they build up in the field. So that's an application. And the other application is that ABB wanted to have better customer guides for installation and maintenance, both for the customers, but also for service partners they are working with. So that is the both cases that ABB is using SwipeGuide for, with the goals: easier production of the instructions, better end user experience, and improve the uptime of drives, especially by capturing the troubleshooting knowledge. And yeah, they have over 1,500 instructions in SwipeGuide now, with a lot of steps covered. Also quite broad usage. We are also launching in China now with them. And they started really quickly with the first 31 instructions available in 2 weeks. And integration in the workflow, as said, we have a very neat integration there, because when the drive spits out an error code, that now is a QR code that allows engineers or customers to directly scan the QR code and get access to the SwipeGuide for troubleshooting that specific error. So a very interesting case for both guides around products and capturing field service knowledge and utilizing that throughout the value chain. Another case is for a machine builder in consumer packaged goods, Japanese company called Fujiseal. And for them, we are helping them both in 2 areas, like one, the training towards their both new employees, but also customers, to make sure that knowledge is available and spread both internally and externally with improved knowledge retention. They also wanted to have more efficient training, so reducing in both authoring time and training time. and it should have an impact on their customer support. So better material for the customer should lead to less support questions, and also better support of treating the incidents in the field. And they wanted to capture more of their tribal knowledge, because a lot of the knowledge that they had in their field service engineering team was not even captured, and we also did that. So we're active there now in Europe and the US. The first 40 instructions are there, 300 monthly views. So this is starting off neatly, and a case of an OEM, so a machine builder that is providing this also as a service to customers. And then finally, Heineken, manufacturing, of course, well-known brand, beverage producer, where the goals were to improve the quality and productivity of the front line, capture and share best practices across the breweries that they have globally, and integrate the learning more into the work done on the shop floor. So make sure that that's a bit more just in time. So there we are rolled out now in over 80 facilities globally. So everything from New Zealand to Haiti, with I think at the moment already more than 15,000 instructions digital available. 80K monthly users, so quite a global reach we have there with a lot of users. And there we measured ROI in some breweries across the globe, and we see we have an impact on the quality. So first time right, changeover times, waste reduction, and improvements in the maintenance and safety and hygiene in the workplace. So also pretty good ROI there. And let me round that off with a quote. We always like to have these nice customer quotes. So we talked to a lot of people at Heineken, and from a brewery manager perspective, this brewery manager said, well, SwipeGuide is really a great tool to make knowledge really instantly available on the shop floor, empower the operators, and also not only empower them with the knowledge that they need to perform the job, but also in a very user-friendly way, and involve them in the knowledge creation. So we see the SwipeGuide instructions not as a static one-time exercise. It is a means for continuous improvements by also really engaging the front line in the improvement of the knowledge base that you have as a company. So this is a bit about SwipeGuide, a bit about the product, the problems that we're solving, and a bit of the use cases. Yeah, and I want to give the floor back to you for questions.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, thank you. That was very interesting. I have a question. We would have a use case where operators have to detect defects, and when there is a defect, they can go through some kind of Ishikawa, you know, if that, then go there and look at that and look at that and so on. And sometimes they find the solution into this default database, I don't know, or solution database. And sometimes they don't, so they need to report that back. Would your tool be able to document that kind of thing?
Well, I think it is quite similar to the ABB case in that sense. So they also they use prescriptions, so that's sort of a prescribed way of handling a error, and then you have, of course, some root cause analysis to come to the point where you have a step-by-step instruction that can guide you to the solution. So what we can do in SwipeGuide is do sort of that support a bit of that triage, so that root cause analysis part, by doing the checkpoints. So we can select, okay, you have to check this if this is the case, and then we can make a link to a solution instruction. And if that is not the case, you can go to the next step. If that's not the case, if this is the case, then you go to this instruction. So that is something we can do. And then in the case where you cannot find the problem, I think it would be a situation where you can do two things. So we have an integration with a remote support tool. So in that case, you could call up remote support for guided assistance. So that's video assistance with annotations. There we integrate with another solution, or it is I have to find out the solution and document it, and that's what ABB then also is doing to create a new prescription. So I couldn't find the solution yet, but I did my further analysis and I found in the end the solution, and now I'm documenting that in SwipeGuide and send that over as a prescription. So there are multiple ways we could tackle that. Yeah.
That's great. And you confirm that it is multilingual?
It is multilingual. Yeah.
Great.
Got a question on your business model. You didn't talk about that, so I guess it's a SaaS solution, but how much would it be, and how do you handle globally for example, for Heineken, which you mentioned as a business case with 80 facilities or more?
Yeah.
What's your business model?
Yeah, no, it's correct. We are a business-to-business SaaS, so a cloud solution. So we work on a subscription basis. It depends a bit on the model and the functionalities that you use in the platform. But for instance, to cover the Heineken part, they have a subscription per brewery. So we have in the platform the possibility to create one overall Heineken platform with a workspace per brewery that there have their own knowledge repository, but can also get material from the global domain and send material back. So the knowledge sharing there is supported, but then the subscription is a platform plus workspaces, and then on a monthly subscription basis.
Okay, here is the App Store.
Those.
So, and it's based on per site. It's not based per user, per I don't know, per instruction or
no. It is per site and some parts of functionality package driven. We want to avoid people of being too conscious of users or material because adoption there is bringing the value. You want to have as many people creating and using the material that's bringing in the value. So we don't want to have any limits there.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Well, okay, so if there is no more questions, thank you, Dan, for your presentation. It was very interesting. I'm gonna switch to French to conclude this session of pitch. Donc merci à tous d'avoir pris le temps de participer à l'événement. J'espère que vous avez trouvé des projets ou des technologies qui pourront vous bénéficier à vos activités donc par la suite. Donc si c'est le cas, n'hésitez pas à contacter Jean-François ou nous pour qu'on puisse vous mettre en relation avec les différentes startups comme prévu, les scale-up plutôt. Donc on va pouvoir vous transmettre le replay avec un séquencement pour que vous puissiez retrouver un peu tous les pitchs et pouvoir faire ça rapidement, et pour les absents aussi pouvoir le transmettre. Donc un peu comme on l'a fait pour la visite de Vallourec. Donc je ne sais pas si vous avez des questions immédiatement. Et donc déjà, merci Jean-François pour l'organisation et tout. Ça s'est plutôt bien déroulé au final, et j'espère que ça a été intéressant donc, pour tout le monde. S'il n'y a pas plus de questions, bah, je vous souhaite à tous...
Ouais, ça a été le cas. Merci beaucoup Dorian, merci Valentin, merci Jean-François, et bien entendu, merci à tous les différents intervenants. Thank you very much to everyone.
Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.
Presentation. Au revoir.
Ouais. Je confirme, c'est des choses à reproduire, c'était très intéressant. Merci à tous.
D'accord, on pourra en parler, débriefer ensemble.
Thanks a lot.
Merci beaucoup, au revoir.
Bye bye.
Merci, excellent après-midi à tout le monde.
Ouais.
Merci beaucoup, au revoir.
Merci.
Au revoir.